in our D.C. Roundup. Please welcome our Washington correspondent, Peter Zampa. Peter, thanks for joining us here today. The president traveled to Virginia Beach to deliver a speech. What did he focus on?
Yeah, Dylan, well, the message of the day from the president is healthcare, healthcare, healthcare. He is getting ready to unveil his big budget proposal that really means nothing, but it shows you where his head is at as far as spending priorities. He's going to unveil that next week, and his big thing lately has been comparing his budget proposal to what he wants to see from Republicans, because he is worried that Republicans are going to try to cut healthcare in their new crusade to cut spending across the board when it comes to federal government spending. So the president today, speaking to a friendly audience, saying once again that he doesn't want to see any cuts to Medicaid and that he plans to veto anything that comes to his desk as long as he can do so and avoid a veto override. But when it comes to, capping the cost of insulin, things like that, keeping healthcare costs low, that is a big priority for him right now as he continues to be worried about what Republicans might do, considering they do have the power of the purse, at least in the House of Representatives.
Got it. Let's look now to Ohio. A lot has been happening in light of that train derailment in East Palestine, and Congress, I understand, is making moves following that incident. What are the lawmakers trying to accomplish there?
Yeah, lawmakers were on recess last week when a lot of this was coming about, when we had the Secretary of Transportation there, when we had reports from the EPA as the investigative process rolled out, and as the NTSB did a lot of their investigation. So now that they are back in session, we're unsurprisingly seeing legislative efforts, especially from Democrats today. The first piece of legislation in the wake of this disaster came out, and they really want to tighten regulations, specifically when it comes to hazardous waste being transported. They want to make sure that even more hazardous waste is labeled appropriately and treated appropriately on these trains, because the train in East Palestine, Ohio, that emitted all of this hazardous toxic chemicals into the community was not labeled correctly, at least in their opinion. It was labeled correctly as far as that regulation goes, but they said it didn't meet the threshold of toxicity that was required at the time, and they want to change that. And you have some Republicans saying we do not want to overregulate. Let's wait for the final report before we legislate in the aftermath of this disaster. And you also have Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer saying he wants the CEO of the railroad company, Norfolk Southern, to testify. So I think we're just going to see a lot more oversight in both chambers as this investigative process continues to carry out.
Got it. Thank you so much. The House Select Committee on U.S.-China competition is holding its first hearing tonight. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. We're going to see testimony from a number of figures. We're going to see former national security officials testifying, and it's really just about the competition between the U.S. and China. In the wake of the spy balloon debacles, we're hearing a lot about TikTok bans and the Chinese Communist Party's influence over that company and how it plays out in this country. They're also going to be look at different interference methods from the Chinese Communist Party as far as it plays into the U.S. and Chinese politics. And also we're expected to hear a lot about Taiwan and this increasing heated situation over in the Far East, especially as it pertains to what we're seeing in Ukraine and Russia's influence there. How might the Chinese react after that war wraps up, or even during this war? So we knew these kinds of hearings would be coming now that Republicans have control in the House of Representatives, and here they are, and we can expect a lot more.
Got it. Hawaii News Now's Washington correspondent Peter Zampa, thanks for joining us here on This Is Now.